Okay, wonderful, thank you. So welcome everybody. We're going to call the meeting to order. Got it as 9:01 a.m. So we will start please with land acknowledgement.
We would like to acknowledge that the Capital Region is located on Treaty 1 territory, the ancestral land of the Innu, Anishinaabe, Anisininu, Dene, Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota, and is the homeland of the Red River Métis. We also acknowledge Shoal Lake 40, Treaty 3 territory, sources water to the City of Winnipeg. We are committed to working in collaboration and partnership with First Nations and the Red River Métis in the spirit of truth and reconciliation.
Thank you. We then have an agenda before us, so I will entertain a motion please for adoption of the agenda. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Jim. Any additions or deletions from anyone? Okay, hearing none, then all in favor as presented? And that is unanimous and carried. Thank you. We'll just take a pause hearing that doorbell before we get to the minutes. Yep, we started, we're just taking a pause. Welcome. Good to see you.
Blah, blah, blah in my van.
I know the feeling.
Well, you gotta make the call when you can make the call.
Exactly.
Now I want some pen.
All right. Morning, Ken.
Morning. Okay. We got somebody I can sit with.
Shane took your spot.
Sorry. All good. I love the
All right, welcome everybody. We had just started the AGM. We've just adopted the agenda.
Okay.
So then I'm going to entertain a motion, please, for the adoption of the minutes from the previous AGM for the draft 2025 AGM minutes, please.
So
Thank you, Delmer. Thank you, Shane. Any questions in regarding the minutes?
It's changed since then. Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. Okay, hearing none, then all in favor? Opposed, if any? And I see that as unanimous and carried. Thank you. Consent agenda, we have 5.1 annual report, 2025 annual report for the capital planning region operating as the Winnipeg metropolitan region.
Yeah, so we have included the draft 2025 annual report for your review. So it will be finalized following this meeting once the financial statements are incorporated and then posted to our website in accordance with the legislative requirements.
Okay, so need a motion to approve the annual report. Thank you, Jim. Second. Ken, thank you. Any questions? Hearing none, then all in favor? Opposed, if any? I see that as unanimous and carried. Thank you. We then have a presentation for the audited financial statements. We do have our auditors here today. Welcome. I don't know if you wish to just take the chairs that are available or where you wish to present from, but yeah. All right, floor is yours.
Good. Thank you, Mayor Chair. Appreciate that. That's good. Let's go through the financial statements. I'm not sure what tab that is in your packet there.
Seven.
Tab number 7.
No, wait a minute. No.
Between 5 and 7.
Yeah, it's just a. Okay.
Good. Just while we're getting there, we should take a look at the annual report maybe just before you finalize it to one of the standards. If you're incorporating our audited statements in there, we just gotta make sure there's nothing that conflicts with the audited statements in the report. So we'll just take a quick look.
Okay, fair.
We do that, yeah.
Thank you.
Good. So let's take a look at the financial statements and our draft auditor's report. Our auditor report is on page 1 of our financial statements there. This is a clean audit opinion on the CPR operating as the WMR for the year ended December 31st, 2025. Yeah, we have no qualifications for the report, so it is a clean audit opinion that we will sign and date following the board's approval of the financial statements at this meeting. Let's flip over to page 3. And I guess just as a way of the background, Jim and Natalie and Julie and I met a couple weeks ago, I believe it was, to go over the draft statements,
Right.
and we incorporated a few changes, more just some geography on the statements, some grouping of certain expenses. So we had a good meeting there, and I think we've got things lined up the way we want to do now. So, and of course, Jim, if you have any comments you'd like to throw in, commentary while we go through this.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the change, we'll see what the changes
Sure,
are. but
absolutely,
yeah,
that's great.
I thought it was good.
Good. Okay, so let's on page 3, the balance sheet of the statement of financial position. The cash balance. There are 2 accounts. We still have the old WMR account open, and Natalie, I think, is still working with the TD, and that's a bit of a thing to get the old accounts wrapped up and stuff. So total cash in the bank between the 2 accounts was $861,000. That accounts receivable you see there, the $13,000, that's due from FCM. On that funding, and we have a schedule for that funding we will look at separately in a second. Let's see, under prepaid expenses, that's your the rent deposit here, and there's a few others, mostly relating to software and some membership dues. That makes up the $13,000. Fixed assets, there were just some small additions during the year. New computer, a water heater had to be replaced and paid for by our organization. Well, the lease we won't talk about that. So the restricted cash, that next line item there, again relates to the original $25,000 account that secures the credit card. That $25,000 over the years has accrued a bit of interest, so it's still sitting there at the $27,000 amount. Total assets up from just under 800 last year to just under 923 at the end of December. Okay. Liabilities. So under accounts payable and trade, a few items to highlight that's in that balance. Links Graphics is included in there. I believe that's website work, right? That's about $23,000. Some legal fees to TDS, $3,400. There's about $10,000 on the credit cards, the 2 credit cards. Employee benefits with the chamber plan, about $1,100 for the month of December. Under accruals, there's our audit fee of $10,000 is accrued there. An invoice for Y Station, $4,200 is included in that balance as well. So that's the $52,000. There's a GST amount payable, $7,000. You can see there. Wages payable. The difference is really just timing, the way the payrolls cut off at the end of the year in December. For the way the payrolls worked this year at the end of December of 2025, it was the December 26th payroll. That full payroll hadn't come out of the bank by the end of the year, and then 3 days of the next payroll run. So that's why you see the difference in the amounts there. Employee deductions, that's just normal source deductions owing for December that were paid deducted in December and paid in January. The pension plan, that amount is noted there. That's the pension amount for the last quarter of the calendar year, the $14,000. And then deferred funding. Actually, let's flip over to that note there. We have a note on note 5, which is page 8 of our financial statements. So the bottom of page 8, if you're there with me there. Note 5. So we started the year with $27,000 of deferred revenue relating to the province of Manitoba operating grant. We showed the $540,000 received, and we recognized $540 as revenue. So that same $27,000 or the same amount is deferred at the end of December of 2025. And then we have some funding from the federal government, $3,000 that was received, and that amount's been deferred. It'll be spent in this current fiscal year. So that's the $30,000 amount there. So that's back to the balance sheet. So that's the liability section there. So 923,000 roughly of assets, 131,000 of liabilities. So the fund balance, the net assets is $791,000 at the end of December. Yeah, any other, I'll pause there for any questions, comments anybody wants to throw out. Julia, did I miss anything? Okay. No, okay, thank you. All right, over the page then, this is the statement of operations. So this is a combined for all the different programs. We will have some schedules that we'll go through that break down operations and some of the other programs. But this is the what I could call kind of the consolidated income statement for all the operations of the CPR. Okay. So there's the revenue is listed there. Membership fees are the same as they were in 2024. The province of Manitoba grant. So this is the amount that was recognized for accounting purposes for revenue, the $545,000. As I mentioned, there's the $27,000 that's deferred. We have our fees for the fire reporting system listed there. It went from $33,000 to $37,000. A little bit of interest income. There's that $3,000 I mentioned from the federal government that was deferred until 2026. Some other smaller amounts of revenue there, and so let me back up. So that 545 is actually the cash that came in from the province, and then we do the adjustment down below for the deferred revenue there. So so $870,000 of income as we've broken out there. Then we have the expenses. We throw those on a schedule since they didn't fit on the bottom of the page. So let's flip over to page number 10. Maybe keep your finger on page 4, and so we can flip back there. So page 10 is the expense breakdown, and so this is again the expenses for the entire operation. We'll look at the expenses, I think, in a bit more detail when we go program by program. I think, Julia, right? So so this is all the expenses in one place here. So I think it'll be more helpful as we look at the individual programs to look at the expenses, I think. So there's the total expenses, $775,000. And if we go back to page 4, that means we've got an operating surplus of $95,000 for the calendar year 2025. Let's see. So as we flip through, I don't think I would draw any attention to cash flow statement or the notes. I think again, the notes are very consistent with the prior year. Nothing that really jumps out to me that I think I would draw the board's attention to. We already looked at the deferred funding note. There's a note on contributed materials, which is note number 7, which refers to some activity in 2024. There was some contributed materials, nothing in 2025. So we just have note number 7 as just for comparative information. There's a note about the pension, which is required disclosure. And yeah, so why don't we jump over to Schedule 2, if you're okay with that. Schedule 2, which is page 11. Now, this is the operating statement for the revenue and expenses relating to operations. So there's the revenue, which we previously looked at. There's the operating grant, the 540. There's a green team grant from the province. We already mentioned the membership fees. And then the adjustment to deferred revenue. As we move down the page, you see an amount for bad debts, the $5,600 amount. That's writing off uncollectible amounts from Selkirk and the RM of West St. Paul, the $5,600. Then under human resources, so under budget overall, the budget included the assumption that we would hire an additional junior planner and an administrative assistant with a 2% increase to the existing salaries. That the junior planner was hired in May, but that person did not work full time into the fall. There was a temporary admin assistant hired during the summer, but there was not a full-time hiring in that position. So that's primarily the reason why that's under budget. Board expenses, which is under meetings there. Which line is that? Board executive expense I'm referring to, the $4,600. There were more expenses obviously in 2024 with the Plan 2050 consultations, so much less in the way of meeting expenses in 2025. That current year expense that includes $3,000 for the FCM Manitoba night reception is included in that $4,600. Travel, that was the travel and registration fees for meetings in Brandon, and there was an annual conference for board members there. Under office, I mentioned about the contributed services, and that was not repeated there in 2025. I think otherwise those expenses are fairly consistent. I don't think anything to comment on there. Over the page. So professional fees, changes to okay, so you had a bookkeeper in place. Shelley was your staff member. Shelley left, and then the organization hired a third-party bookkeeper. And so that's the bookkeeping expense, the new line item that you see there. And then, of course, the decrease in employment was on the previous page under salaries. Under consulting fees there, the $26,000, that's mostly Y Station, which was assisting with the communication strategy, and a little bit for Governance Guru, helping with some policy statements. Just a kind of a general note on comparatives. Information technology, website, and software subscriptions. We didn't adjust the prior year to try to line up. There was just kind of too much to try to line everything up with the current year's presentation. So I just note that for you there. Under information technology, which is the $6,500 amount. That's mostly relating to server maintenance costs, including some updates to the server, patches, and other IT requirements. Information technology support, the next line down there, is with Clear Concepts, and that's a paper service. You basically call them up when they're needed. Legal fees there is primarily to Thompson, Dorfman, Sweatman, relating to planning advice, intellectual property matters, and there's a filing fee that is included there. Web development is listed there, and there's some additional website development in the current year. Website hosting is mainly with Nixa. Is it Nixa? Yeah, okay. There's some specific maintenance costs, including some updates to the website, so that's listed there. Software subscriptions, the next line there, is mostly for cloud computing, Microsoft subscriptions. And then under software subscriptions, the 37 is mostly just routine subscriptions, which is Adobe, Zoom, Wix, GoDaddy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's those amounts there. So that's a breakdown of the operations, the revenue we looked at, and then we thought that again, working with Natalie and Ryan on the presentation, hopefully makes sense with the breakdowns we've given. So we appreciate the work that they work with us on there. So that's the operation schedule 2. Okay. Just pause. Any questions from the board on that before we move on? You're staying awake? That's good.
That's
Okay.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty on it. I actually following it.
Yeah, it's not okay, good.
That was a question and answer after.
Yeah, there will be a test.
Must score 8 out of 10.
Okay, Schedule 3 is the fire reporting system. I'm on page 13 now. So the fees are listed there, $37,250 compared to $33 in the prior year. A little bit of training revenue, and the costs of $30,800, a little under budget. That we were budgeting $39, consistent with the prior year. That just the costs were a little bit lower in 2025. So it's a bit of a surplus compared to a bit of a deficit in 2024. Schedule 4. This is the FCM funding. So 17,000 came in, and this is a grant for up to about $160,000. This project aims to support local governments and technical staff in implementing complete community policy objectives to advance climate resiliency and equity in the CPR. And so this project, there's more work that's happening in 2026. So 17,000 was spent on that in 2025. Next page, working group. These were expenses. Nothing on this in 2025, so we just show this for comparative purposes. And then Schedule 6, again, this is the global affairs funding, which we noted previously was received, but the revenue was deferred, so as this will be spent in 2026. So that's a quick look through the statements, and turn it back over to the chair. And if there's any other questions, comments, we were happy to try and answer any questions.
I have a question, maybe more of an internal one, and just regarding our 2026 budget, just on Schedule 2, when I see actual of 40,000 in 2024 and 101 in 2025, were a lot of those one-off expenses, or are we budgeting going forward because that's the cost of doing business? I'm seeing like a $60,000 variance there, and I'm just wondering, were those one-offs for 2025, or?
Talking schedule,
I'm talking Schedule 2.
Yeah.
Sorry, and then for actual expenses in 2024, I see 40,141, and actual in 2025, I see 101,528. For 2026 now, sorry, I don't have the budget in front of me, are we thinking it's again 101,528-ish? Or are we back to 40? Was the 101, the 60,000 increase more because of one-time expenses?
I believe, Adam, this was related to the reorganizing of things, so it didn't really align quite well with 2024, so that's why the discrepancy is there. Is
Yeah,
that
I think that's fair,
Well,
Natalie, yeah.
yeah.
And, go ahead.
No, I just know it, the one, the consulting fee, $26,000 there, maybe, will that be the same
Yes,
ongoing?
we'll need consulting fees.
Yeah.
I believe 2024 was just represented differently in some other form.
Okay.
So it's not comparative
Okay.
here.
And the bookkeeping, I'm guessing instead of bookkeeping expense was wage expense versus.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that's exactly
So it's
correct.
kind of an in and an out, if you
Yeah.
will.
I
Yeah.
agree.
That's fair, yeah. And Natalie's mentioned us that we're gonna try to provide some assistance in getting the budget in place and reporting it in the accounting system as well, so the board can get some good reports, so we'll provide some assistance.
yeah, one of the discussions we had was kind of realigning the expenses so that you can put a budget against them in 2026. so
Exactly.
A little clear,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I think there were some unusual legal costs too that were in
Yeah.
2025, yeah.
Yeah.
And consulting fees, and like you're mentioning, the bookkeeping was salaries now, and then it was or then it was.
The only reason that I mention this is that I think to a board member, one of the questions we answer to our ratepayers for is cost certainty. And I think that should our ratepayers, find some of this information, one of the questions they might choose to pick up is, costs and concern about cost creep, if you will, as versus cost certainty. So I'm just trying to make sure that we as a board have answers as to why some of these things are happening. So when we're talking to our ratepayers, especially now during what, can we call it silly season yet?
Soon to come.
That we just make sure we have a good understanding. So I appreciate Jim and Natalie for taking the extra deep dive into it. That gives me great confidence, and appreciate your expertise on that. And thank you for the answer as well.
Good. And one comment, we issued a management letter to especially with now using an external bookkeeper, right? Our suggestion is that the key folks in the organization, when they approve an invoice, to actually write down which GL account code that this specific expense belongs in, right? Because I think, Julia, you moved a lot of stuff around in the bookkeeping, right? And I think the bookkeeper is, somewhat guessing as to where this particular, expense lies. So the more certainty we can give him or her at that, because obviously the person who owns the project knows, okay, this is for this project, I want it under, computer hardware and equipment, not under website or something like that, right? So,
Well, there's always the notes embedded in the cell, right? So the cell shows the number, and then when I've looked at enough of these for our own community, you click on the cell, and then it's like, oh, A, B, C, D, E, F, all associates to that cell reference amount or whatever it is, right? So sometimes that just helps, and also just in and out. Well, mine, if you look at page 1, you see this, but it's over here, balanced over here. So just knowing, trying to understand that. So any Cole's notes that we get to that effect is helpful, so that we're not trying to fish, because my wife's a bookkeeper and a controller of a company, so I get a little bit of understanding here of reading
Yeah,
through some of this. But yeah, I think it would just be helpful if we get Cole's notes, just again, we want to be able to be transparent to our ratepayers, and that's important.
Yeah, and the budget's been going a lot of refinement over the last few years, so I think next year will even be a better reflection of where we're headed and with new bookkeeping services.
It's not a complaint, just looking for greater understanding.
No, absolutely, no.
Thank you.
That's our presentation, so unless there's any other questions?
Yeah, I'll just call, any questions from the board or online? Krista, anyone? Okay, if not heard, we need to approve.
Yes, we can do that after the fact. There is no resolution, but if you feel that there needs to be a resolution, we could do that.
Okay, so hang on here, let me just get my agenda back in front of me here. So this was just a presentation at this time, so we're not needing to do anything at this point other than the presentation. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. I don't hear that there are any other questions, so thanks once again for your work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, good job.
Thank you.
Clear, simple.
I'll get home from my wife, showed me I'm doing a good job.
I think you do a good job.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the key to success here is make sure the budget's the way we want to spend the money, and so that's why there was some realignment when we went, Natalie and I went over with, and we kind of suggested maybe you categorize little things, and when you have two bookkeepers in 1 year,
Yeah.
they have different opinions as to where the money
Yeah,
should
yeah.
be allocated,
Yeah,
so. So I mean, I think this year should be better because the budget should reflect how the actuals are gonna come in, and then
Or even 2027.
for 2027, yeah.
Okay.
2027.
Sounds great. Okay, so then we do need an appointment for an auditor and legal counsel. Looks like this is on two separate motions, so we'll do the auditor first. Proposed motion to appoint the auditor, and it's the same auditor that we, okay, that's what we're proposing, so someone prepared to move, please. Okay, I think I got Jim just ahead of Shane on that one.
Oh, sorry.
By an eyelash. Any questions? None heard, then all in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous and carried, thank you. Then appointment of legal counsel, and this is the firm,
TDS.
okay, so
Thomas Dorf and Sweatman.
Thompson Dorf Sweatman, so proposed motion to appoint legal counsel. Do I have a mover, please? Okay, and I got Ken and Janice on that one. Any questions? None heard, then all in favor? Opposed? Unanimous and carried, thank you. Governance update, bylaw and policies.
Okay, so quickly on the governance update. So since last year's AGM, we've implemented a series of targeted governance enhancements. So the executive committee terms of reference were updated in October of 2025 to strengthen governance practices and improve clarity and consistency. So these updates introduce measures such as term limits and enhanced procedures. They are reinforcing a stronger and more consistent governance framework. The CPR organization and procedures bylaw was also updated in March and April 2026 to reflect recent regulatory changes while maintaining the overall procedural framework. So further review and updates to existing policies, as well as the development of any new policies, are planned for after the 2026 municipal elections to align with the next board term. We then have executive committee, if you'd like me to speak to that.
Sure.
Okay. So as outlined in the executive committee terms of reference, nominations for regional representatives are typically initiated in advance of the AGM. But due to an administrative oversight, this process was not initiated ahead of this year's meeting. So in addition, as this is a municipal election year, and given the current composition of our board that's been changing, there's opportunity to revisit how the representation of the executive committee is structured and ensure it reflects the makeup of this board. So as a result, we are proposing to defer the nomination and election of regional representatives until after the election, once the new board is in place. So this will allow time for review of the terms of reference and bring forward any proposed updates, including consideration of representation and flexibility during election years. So in the interim, we are proposing that current executive committee members would continue to serve until successors are appointed. And the resolution that is before you, that's what we are proposing.
Okay, so motion is for the executive to stay in place until November. So would someone be prepared to make that motion? Delmer moves. Do I have a seconder? Janice seconds. Questions, comments?
Well, it makes sense to me. I think it'd be wise to wait and see who's on the board in
Yeah.
November.
Absolutely.
Just making sure that existing members are willing to continue to serve, so.
So we've got a 3 months that puts us into January.
Right. We added a little flexibility, just giving the fact that October's an election. We'll have our, our orientation likely in November. People will probably want to get appointed or oriented to what they are doing on this board, and then perhaps the elections are December, maybe January.
Up to 3 months.
Yeah, up to, depending how everyone's feeling after the election.
I guess assuming the current executive is willing to stay on the post.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm giving the chance for anyone to speak that, would have concerns or questions. But I'm not hearing any.
How many meetings are there now? I don't have my calendar in front of me between now and October, I guess.
There's nothing set for the executive, it's more of a when we need to meet.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
a little more casual.
Okay, so then I have a motion. I do have a second, so I'll call for the question. All in favor, please? Opposed? Hearing none, then that is unanimous and carried. So thank you to the executive members for your willingness to continue to serve. That is
Oh, here's
much
the-
appreciated, just as we're kind of going through this period of transition here. So then we go to meeting schedule for 2026, 2027, proposed 2027 board meeting dates. So Natalie, if you wanted to just speak to that, please.
Correct, so we are supposed to propose a meeting dates for the following year at the AGM. So what you have in front of you is what we've proposed. We've kept the Thursday mornings 9 to noon. It seems to work with everyone's council schedules. So that is what is in front of you for a proposal.
So just before I ask for any discussion on that, there was a time we were at on Fridays. And then when Chair Moore came to be, then that was changed to Thursdays. So I'm just asking the question, Thursdays, different days, what is the board's wish?
Just give me 1 minute here. I'm just looking here. So we don't really have our calendar for next year out yet.
Okay.
So I don't know what day counts. Our council meetings really float, like they're not the same day every month, right?
Oh,
So we'll say this for now, see what happens.
You're the most difficult one to schedule around. Everybody else's is pretty set. So
Yeah.
Fridays we did look in just for fun, and it seems that works as well. So if that's something you want to
So-
do, we can.
This is flexible, or just from a point of process or administration, a motion that's made can be changed, like if we need to change
I don't
dates or?
think a motion is necessarily, unless you feel like you need to do one.
I wouldn't think so. This is just what's proposed. So
Yeah.
if suddenly becomes a conflict, we would like everyone to be able to
Yeah.
attend, obviously.
Yeah, I know for my case, and likely, I'm not gonna speak for you, but I meant for the case of the water co-op, the Cartier Regional Water Club.
Yeah.
We've adjusted that meeting
Yeah.
to happen on Thursday afternoons.
Okay.
So this kind of works in with that. If we
Yeah.
had the Friday, it would just add an additional day to.
Yeah.
You know,
Actually, that's a good point, Delmer. It'd actually be good if it stayed
It
on
stayed,
Thursday morning, because we've
absolutely.
adjusted our other meetings, like the water
Yeah.
co-op, to
Yeah.
avoid Thursday mornings, so.
Okay.
And for us, it's like coming in and then we just head back towards Headingley and we're there for the 1 o'clock meeting. And
Yep.
So I mean, if it has to change, it has to, but I'm just explaining that
it-
we've already adjusted our schedules to try and.
For me, it makes no difference. I've adjusted things myself. So, but at the same time, it's important that board members are able to attend.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, we looked at I think Thursday is a good day because you look at AMM, you look at the water, like all the other boards that would involve a number of municipalities. I don't think Thursday morning is on any of those schedules, so I don't know about the city of Winnipeg, but
Yeah,
I mean,
Janice, when would
it's
you know? Not
probably,
till-
it's probably as good a date as
We
you
don't
can
know
pick.
till November, like till we come back and.
So do you know your schedule between now and October?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Thursdays are good till at
Yeah.
least election?
Let me just look here.
Should be in your calendar already.
So, yeah, like if I've accepted them, then.
Yeah.
Yep, so the 17th is for September, right? October 22nd. Oh yeah, no, we're not in October, right? So basically there's just September and that's August,
July.
August. I have one in here for August and probably one for July, right?
Okay.
Yeah, no, that all works.
So Friday would be a tougher one for me, but only once a month, and it's usually towards the end of the month. So I'm on SIPD, and so I like the Thursday. We'll work around Janice's schedule, mind you.
Yeah. It sounds to me like Thursdays has been
Yeah.
kind of semi-unanimously or unanimously accepted, so we'll stick with it. But if we need to change, let's make sure we have a discussion. Okay, thank you for that. Business arising from previous AGM, I don't have anything in the notes that I'm aware of unless something has come to bear. New business, I did not see any. Closed session, I don't believe we had anything we need to do there. So unless there's anything else for the AGM, I could take a motion to adjourn the AGM, please. I got Shane and Janice on that, all in favor. And that is unanimous and carried. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so now for the regular meeting, because it starts at 10, and we may have the public that is coming online. I guess we're just taking a recess, or do we want to do some in-camera work prior to that, or what's?
I just had a question that maybe we could go on camera for.
Yeah,
Well, why don't we close this meeting, right?
we
So-
did. We just adjourned.
Do you want us to stop the live feed? And
Yeah, I
then
would
we
go,
can
and then we'll come
in
back
time?
at